Brian Kelly has said that year 3 is always good to him. His 3rd year at Central Michigan, back in 2006, the Chippewas won the MAC. His 3rd year at Cincinnati, back in 2009, the Bearcats went 12-0, won the Big East, and made the Sugar Bowl. His 3rd year at Notre Dame in 2012, the Fighting Irish went undefeated and made the national championship game. So what will happen for the Tigers in year 3 under Brian Kelly? So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys. We're so glad you could join us today to break down LSU's schedule for 2024. Not predicting records today, although that will be coming very, very soon, but breaking down the Tigers, our 12th ranked team in our way too early top 25. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and check out everything down in the description below, including our website, thegridironexpert.com. Tons of exclusive content over there to help you get through this offseason. Again, here at the Gridiron Expert, college football never dies, the season never ends, so if you want non-stop college football coverage and content, this is the place for you. All the more reason to like, to comment, subscribe, and hit that notification button so you also don't miss out on any future videos, including our official predictions for every single college football team starting in just a few months. So let's take a look at LSU, guys. Last year they had very sky-high expectations. Many thought they would make or could make the college football playoff, but they fell short of those expectations. And those hopes of a playoff berth, a national title, those were dashed by the end of September when the Tigers were just 3-2. The defense was absolutely atrocious. The offense was the best in the country, led by the Heisman Trophy winner in Jaden Daniels. But here we go into 2024 with high expectations once again. Jaden Daniels, yes, is gone, but they've got a lot of offensive talent returning. The defense has to get better. Brian Kelly addressed those needs, hired Blake Baker, the defensive coordinator from Missouri, to come fix those problems. And when you look at LSU's schedule, you realize they do have an opportunity to once again win at least 10 games, maybe 11, and get to the college football playoff. It's expanded to 12 teams, a little bit easier to get in, and the Tigers certainly have a very good chance to get there. You look at what they're up against. Some tough games down the stretch, but overall, I wouldn't say horrible. I would say, you look at this, I like the non-conference matchups a lot. We'll break it down bit by bit here, and then we'll address the key stretch of the season that will ultimately define them. But look at that. USC and UCLA on September 1st and September 21st, playing the 2 California schools in non-conference play. 2 now Big Ten schools in non-conference play. That Week 1 game against USC in Las Vegas is going to be epic. It's going to be one of the best Week 1 games of the year, right? It's going to be one of the best games of opening weekend. It's going to be very, very exciting to watch. This LSU offense versus that USC offense. Both teams' defenses were atrocious last year. Which one can prove that they can get a stop or two in this game? Which defense steps up and rises to the occasion? Going to be a great way to kick off the season. USC maybe not as high of expectations in their first year in the Big Ten, especially after how poorly they played last year. So this, to me, looks like a bigger game for LSU than it does for the Trojans. Can they get the job done? They have a conference game in Week 3 at South Carolina. Can never overlook Columbia. Very interesting game there. LSU and South Carolina, as we know, don't play very often, that cross-division. So a fun one there. And then UCLA. Obviously, a lot of change with the Bruins right now, not just from a personnel standpoint, but from a coaching standpoint as well. Getting them in the Big Ten coming to Baton Rouge will be an interesting non-conference game late in September. But you look at that. After South Alabama, guys, entering their bye week, many would expect the Tigers to be 5-0. I think if you're an LSU fan, anything less than 5-0 is disappointing. Even if you lose to USC, like you lost to Florida State last year in Week 1, and then you rattled off 4 straight victories. 4-1 is not bad, but you need to be 5-0. You need to be, because then you enter the bulk of your conference play, and we know how tough conference play is in the SEC. So if you are LSU, it's always said it's better to lose early than it is to lose late, and it would be better to lose a non-conference game than it would be to lose a conference game, sure. But there's a very good chance they're 5-0, and I think the expectation needs to be 5-0, because here's the thing. Coming out of that first bye week, LSU enters a brutal stretch on the schedule. I mean, think about that. 5-0, you're almost halfway through the season. Then they enter a brutal stretch. Ole Miss, at Arkansas, at Texas A&M, so back-to-back road games there, another bye week, and then Alabama. And many would say, really? Is that bad? Yeah, that's pretty bad. Why? Because LSU went 10-3 last year. One of those losses was to Florida State. That was non-conference. 2 of those losses were in conference play. Who were those losses to? They were to Ole Miss, and they were to Alabama. So in a 4-game stretch, you faced the 2 teams in conference play that you lost to last year. And then you face Arkansas and Texas A&M that typically play you pretty tough, and did last year. A&M gave it their all before falling 42-30 to the Tigers in Death Valley. Arkansas took them down to the final seconds only losing 34-31 in Death Valley. And the Razorbacks were god-awful last year. So you start with Ole Miss. The Tigers lose that game 55-49 last season in Oxford. That offense was on display on both sides, but it was the Ole Miss defense that ultimately came through in the end and got them that win. The Tigers getting the host this game in Death Valley is massive. Getting it off a week of rest is massive. But Ole Miss, gonna be a very, very good team. They are loaded on both sides of the ball. Lane Kiffin annihilated the transfer portal. This is an Ole Miss team that we have ranked in our way too early top 25, haven't ranked them in our top 10. And this is a team that very well could challenge for an SEC title in 2024. So watch out for the Rebels. Getting the game at home is big for LSU, but this has an opportunity to be another high-scoring shootout. If the Tigers haven't shored up that defense, they will be in trouble. Then they go on the road to Arkansas. Trap game there. The Razorbacks are always hyped and ready to play LSU. They traditionally give them one heck of a fight. The game's in Fayetteville. That helps the Razorbacks. And if you look at LSU, are they going to be riding a high after the Ole Miss win if they beat the Rebels? Will they be riding that high? Will they be hung over if they lose? It's a bit of a trap game to come off an emotional, hard-fought game, win or lose against the Rebels, now to go into Fayetteville where the Razorbacks, like I said, I've always played LSU tough. 2 years ago, they lost just by 3 to the Tigers in a game where they were down to their third-string quarterback. Then you get last year, Arkansas gives it their all, only loses by 3 in Death Valley. LSU got the win. That's what matters the most. But the Razorbacks aren't just going to roll over, even if they are going to be pretty bad this year. So watch out for that game. Then another tough game against Arkansas. You have to go on the road to A&M. College Station, very, very tough. They are loaded with talent. Like Elko, looking to change the culture, to get them back to their big-time winning ways, to get them over the hump that Jimbo Fisher was never able to do. It's going to be a very tough environment. It's going to be a team that on both sides of the ball can hang with LSU. We know how dangerous the 12th man is, and A&M was giving it their all. They had nothing to play for in that season finale last year, and were really hanging with LSU for the Tigers finally woke up and pulled away 1-12. So that 3-game stretch is absolutely brutal. Then you get your bye week, and you got to play Alabama that has major SEC title implications. Yes, we know the game's not going to be the same, and Alabama isn't going to be the same without Nick Saban. Kalen DeBoer is still one heck of a coach. They still got Jalen Milroe, who was dang near unstoppable against LSU last year. It was really back and forth until LSU kind of collapsed and Daniels got hurt. But obviously, this is an Alabama team that is still no pushover. Just because Saban isn't there doesn't mean the team's going to go from a national, one play away from the national championship to a 6-7 win team. They're still going to be very competitive. They're still going to be very tough. They're still extremely well coached. Getting the bye week right before it obviously helps. Getting it in Death Valley helps. And I think actually LSU's probably favored in this game. If I had to pick right now, I think LSU's favored over Alabama on November 9th. But obviously the way the season plays out, that will shape that spread when the time comes. But Alabama's still going to be very, very tough and still won by 14 last year. A lot of those key pieces do return. So this is an LSU team, guys, that, again, could get off to such a strong start. But how they navigate those next 4 games will determine whether or not they are a playoff team, they are an SEC title team, or if they're just another 9-10 regular season win team. And they fall short and just go to a decent bowl game. Because those final 3 games, guys, aren't too bad. At Florida, not expecting too much out of the Gators. They have some talent, yes, but that schedule is going to be very, very rough. And you wonder how that's going to play a role in the Gators by that point in the season. If they continue to get beat down, where's the motivation? Where's the energy? Where's the effort? Is Billy Napier fired midseason? We don't know, but it's going to be a rough year for the Gators. On the road at Florida, never easy. LSU did win by 17 last year, though. They should cruise past Vanderbilt, and they have senior day against Oklahoma. Not an easy game either. The Sooners are going to be pretty solid in the SEC. They have a shot. You go look at their schedule preview. Relatively favorable schedule if they can navigate their key stretch as well. But having that day on senior day in Death Valley is huge. Brian Kelly's done a phenomenal job of already defending home field in Baton Rouge, and I would expect him to do the same on his last game of the year, senior day, against a Sooners team that, kind of like Florida, could be beat down by season's end. And he's going to be playing in a very hostile environment. They've played in some of the Big 12, but have they really experienced anything like Death Valley, especially if that game is at night? This is an LSU team, guys, that once again has high expectations. The talent is there. The coaching is there. It's year 3 under Brian Kelly. It's been kind to him in the past. Will it be kind to him this year? LSU's got one key stretch. And if they can navigate that on top of that strong start that we mentioned with those non-conference games against USC and UCLA, this is a team that can challenge for a playoff spot. This is a team that can maybe fulfill the expectations that were set before them last year. Delayed gratification. It's okay sometimes, right? Will that happen this year? Leave your thoughts down in the comments below. We'll have our official prediction for them coming up here in just a few months to share whether or not the Tigers are a 12-team playoff team or if they will fall just short once again under Brian Kelly. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. Check out everything down in the description below, including our website, thegridironexpert.com, and all the exclusive content we have over there to help you get through this offseason. Go check it out and become a member of our GE Nation. And once again, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.
Yeah.